This question is from Ali in India, who writes, I'm a college student in India. I had an offer to read physics at Oxford, which I did not take up because I couldn't afford the fees. How can we, one, make quality education affordable for all, and two, improve quality of education in developing countries?
I think there are two answers to that. First of all, that's a problem here too. That is, America has a good policy on accepting students from overseas, but there's almost no financial aid available to students from other countries who come here through public sources. So I think there probably should be some sort of international facility. You wouldn't have to fund it a great deal of money, but that offers, has a few $1 million a year, which has been given out to deserving, bright young people from developing countries that don't come from wealthy families that are admitted to universities in developed countries. Because his story, I could have gotten several questions like that from students who've been accepted to American universities. The second thing is, I think we should really make an effort to create more adequate systems of higher education in developing countries. Maybe not every country has to have a big system of higher education, but there ought to be one adequate system close by in every region. For example, maybe not every country in West Africa has to have one, but if you're going to concentrate, let's say, in the biggest in Nigeria, then there ought to be a system to provide funding for people from Benin and Sierra Leone and Senegal and other places. Senegal has a good system, they could go there. I think it's really important, and there's been, the president of Tanzania is trying to develop a university system there which will do this. In order to do it, amidst all the other competing demands, developed countries are going to have to help them because if you look at it, a good model would be what's going on in the Middle East. Qatar has 5 or 6, Georgetown, my alma mater, has a College of International Economics there. Texas A&M has a College of Agriculture and Engineering. The Cornell Biomedical Center, where I had a lot of my treatment in New York, they have, they and Columbia were associated, but Cornell Weill alone went and built a medical school. Then you've got a whole different model in the UAE where NYU is creating basically an NYU campus of comprehensive education in the UAE. What do all those things have in common? They can pay to have it there. Saudi Arabia, under the sponsorship of the king, has just built the first coeducational university in the country. In a remote area, they created a whole community for a coeducational university. There are now more women than men in colleges in Saudi Arabia. But the developed countries can't afford that. Haiti, interestingly enough, because of the involvement of religious institutions, was one of the few really low-income countries that had a pretty decent network of higher education before the earthquake. So all we have to do there is to rebuild it and try to improve it as we rebuild. But you really you've got to have some way, I think, of doing that. There ought to be probably an international conference which sets up a strategy for all the developing countries within the big countries, and then regionally where there are a lot of small countries clumped together, to make sure that every child in the world who is gifted and motivated and works hard and has some chance to get a college education